Hey guys, thanks for accessing the agency training and downloading the funnel blueprint. So just so you guys get a little bit of history behind this funnel, I mean, it's been an epic journey for me, and certainly it means a lot to me that I'm able to share it with other people inside of the industry. When I got started as a Facebook freelancer, and this was maybe about 4 or 5 years ago, I turned to other agency owners. So these were guys that were running successful agencies and girls. And I was really trying to figure out, how do I get from being this freelancer, this lone freelancer, to having a team, to having a business, to going from burnt out, constantly feeding my business everything that I had, time, resources, money, everything, to, instead of that, flipping it around so it was my business feeding me the experiences that I wanted out of life. So funding my lifestyle, funding my time, all of this stuff, right? But what I found was that the industry is very tight-lipped. So unfortunately, the answers that I was getting from a lot of agency owners was like, oh, you have to go to networking events, or, you know, it's down to you, it's who you know, your net worth is your network, and you know, biz devs, I mean, they kind of work, they don't really work. It was just really jolted. And I remember at one stage, I even thought to myself, okay, screw this. The way that people get clients, or the way that people land or build their agencies, I should say, is surely it must be they build the team first, and then the team goes out and finds clients, and then, you know, you scale and magic happens. So what I did was I took out this massive bank loan and I hired a team. It was about 6 people. And I realized pretty damn fast, within the space of about 2 months, that that is not how you build an agency at all. I ended up with a massive loan on my hands, and I had to make everyone redundant, which was a really shitty experience, to be honest. So that was a learning curve all in itself. I'm glad I experienced it. However, I kind of want to help you guys avoid that and bypass that, because it's completely unnecessary towards growing your agency. So what I discovered, though, was luckily, I'm pretty persistent. So despite all of that, I kept at it. And tens of thousands of dollars left. I mean, probably about 30K later. And about 3 years into trying this stop-start, you know, starting to scale and not being able to scale, and constantly being stuck in this loop of low-paying clients, working really long hours. I was doing about 10K a month, which might sound good. However, for those of you in that position, you know 10K a month minus taxes, minus expenses, minus everything else that needs to come out to run an agency is really only about 4K to 5K a month salary. So it's really nothing to go home and brag about. Certainly, you get to a stage when you start to think, well, should I just get a job? Because I'm working crazy hours, there's a lot of risk, and I have no life, and I'm not actually earning that much money. So 10K sounded good, but it wasn't that great, and it was constantly stop-start in that stage. And I finally cracked a system about 30K in, and many, many years in, and that was probably about a year, I want to say about a year and a half, 2 years ago. And this system is the very system that allowed me to go from that 10K a month freelancer stepping into the shoes of an agency owner. So I had grown at that time from being a lone wolf to having a team of 10 people and doing 10K a month to doing 6 figures a month. So what happened in there was month 3. So that was really quick as well, guys. So month 3, I scaled to about $80,000 a month. And then on the 4th month, we were doing about 6 figures, so 100K. And we are now on track to doing 200K a month in revenue. And not only that, the business has 40% profit margins. So it's incredible. It's like a great business model. E-commerce doesn't even have this type of margin. So if you structure it properly, it works really, really well. So I'm going to take you through this on this wonderful whiteboard on how this all works. Now make sure that you also download that funnel because that is part of this training, and that funnel means that you can actually pretty much literally download the lead gen funnel into your ClickFunnels account, edit some stuff, make sure you change your name, make sure you change the headline so it's all on your brand, et cetera, but otherwise you're pretty much ready to go. So in this training, I want to take you through that funnel, and I want to take you through how that works and the concept behind why it works. And I'll try to explain as much as I can, in depth as I can, on how it's used to attract those leads. And then not only that, how you then onboard those leads at that 5 to 10K mark. Because it's one thing to land leads, it's a totally different thing to be able to sell them in at the right price, right? So we're going to be covering that in today's training. So again, thank you. I'm excited to have you guys here, and I'm hoping that I don't disappoint. So basically the premise is pretty simple. The funnel is essentially a Facebook ad, and hopefully you guys can still hear me even though I've turned my back. I'm just going to move this chair, guys. And this does not look like a Facebook ad, but it is a Facebook ad. And we're going to send them to a landing page. And we're going to have a nice call to action. We send them to a booking page with your calendar on it. And then we send them to a confirmation page. Thank you. So this says, thanks, man. So Facebook ad, landing page, booking page, confirmation. Now, and again, you guys can just download this entire thing into your account. So what I want to do is I want to take you through each one of these steps to explain how it all works and how to make it work. Before I do that, a bit of a disclaimer. This is just one of the funnels that we use. So we actually have about 7 funnels. This is one of the funnels that we use, and we used it because we had Facebook ads experience. So I was a very competent and confident Facebook marketer. There's 8 different funnels that I use because I work with a lot of agency owners now and Facebook freelancers, so I now mentor Facebook marketers and agency owners. And I discovered pretty quickly that people are on different levels. So there's some people that have no case studies or testimonials. There's some people that don't really have internal Facebook ads knowledge. They outsource everything. There's some people that are really competent Facebook marketers, but they don't know how to land the lead. So everyone was in very different situations. So because of that, subsequently I developed 8 different funnels. Each one of those spending about 30 to 40K testing each one of them out to validate them, make sure they work, or even just cracking it, because sometimes I probably spent about 300K on funnels that failed miserably. So a bit of a disclaimer, this funnel here is probably only going to work for you if you're a competent Facebook marketer. Nevertheless, feel free to download it and try it for yourself. If you're a beginner, just be aware that it might not work that well for you, because when you get to the sales call, this funnel is relying on your competence, okay? So just be aware of that. So if you are a beginner and you're not sure, you can reach out to my team and we can have a chat to you about some of the other funnels that we use, all right? So anyways, very similar premise with all of them though, okay? So we're gonna go through all of these ones, and especially here, this one will apply to every single funnel, no matter the ones that you use. I'm even gonna use red here, super important. So with this one here, your Facebook ad, so your Facebook ad basically is your direct response telling your prospects or your target audience, hey, I'm here, marketing funnel, right? Awareness, consideration, acquisition. In the awareness stage, hey, I'm here and you need these services if you're trying to do this. Now, we all get that, right? If you're a Facebook marketer, that's what you do for your clients. And I'm not going to go into targeting or any of that stuff either in this training. Again, if you need help with that, reach out to myself or my team. We'd be happy to chat with you about that. However, one of the things that is very, 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 very important here is the vertical. Verticals. What Americans probably refer to as niches. So, niches? Niche, I don't know. So verticals are basically industries or niches, right? And this is important because not only should your targeting be towards a specific vertical, but your ad needs to be towards that as well. Now, maybe you've never thought of this before. Maybe you don't have verticals inside of your business. And the reason I'm bringing that up is probably because 90% of you guys watching this right now are not using verticals, or you don't specialize in a specific industry. So I want to have a very blunt discussion, agency owner to agency owner, or agency owner to Facebook freelancer, whatever that might be. And again, try to help you learn from my own mistakes. So I spent a long time, especially in the beginning, where I was kind of all over the place. So my first few clients, I had an auto car mechanic brand, so we call them Warrant of Fitnesses here, so where you get, I don't know, they like tinker with you, I don't know. So I had that, I had large brands, I had events company, I had a realtor, I had a subscription box client, so a monthly subscription box, I had an e-commerce client selling children's clothing, and I was kind of all over the place. And part of that, honestly, if I'm really blunt here, was because I had no idea when the next client or the next lead was going to come from, because I didn't know how to generate leads properly and I didn't know how to onboard them properly. So I was subsequently just accepting everything that came my way. So a big part of that was because of that. However, another big part of that was just because I didn't know. I didn't realize, hey, you should focus your expertise on a couple verticals for two big reasons, guys. Big, big reasons. Number one, learning curves. I'm going to use black. This isn't working. So learning curves. So learning curves cost money. And they cost time. I don't even think I need to tell you guys that. So what happens when you're all over the place? Well, when you are working with an e-commerce brand selling children's clothing and all of a sudden you land a subscription box client, even though they're technically both e-commerce, they're fundamentally different types of e-commerce, right? Just like events. Events are technically e-commerce as well, but it's a very, very different funnel. And so you setting yourself off on this learning curve every single time you onboard a new client. And learning curves cost money and they cost time, and a lot of the times they cost clients. Because if you are a tapped out freelancer and you don't have the time to figure it out, or you didn't charge enough to actually pull in consultants or experts within that specific vertical or niche, you're not going to crack it. And when you don't crack it, you lose the client. You have no retention rate. So it sets you back, or it keeps you stuck in this kind of loop. So you might be accepting them right now because you're thinking, I need the money and I really cannot say no to people that come my way. Long term, I will tell you 1000% it backfires on you. It costs you more money long term for sure. But the second really important thing with verticals to understand is that actually it's really good for marketing. So when you position yourself as an expert, it's way more powerful and you will be able to onboard clients 1000% easier than if you didn't. So here's what I mean by that. Here's an example. So let's say you're a Facebook ads agency and you're looking for a consultant, or you're looking for a coach, okay? So you're looking for a coach in your Facebook ads agency, and you have two options. One of them is an agency coach. Sounds great. And the other one is a Facebook ads agency coach. I mean, which one are you going to pick? You're obviously going to go with this one, the Facebook ads agency coach, right? Because it's way more relevant. It's way more specific to what your needs are. Same thing for your clients. You got to think about it from your client side. So instead of saying, I'm a Facebook ads agency, you call yourself an e-commerce Facebook ads agency, or even better, an e-commerce Facebook ads specialist, or a Facebook ad marketing expert. E-commerce Facebook ad marketing experts. Boom! What do you think that does to an e-commerce guy, right? When he's on the call with you, he goes, well, I'd rather work with you than the other agency that's kind of like all over the place with everything that they do, right? Because you understand what I'm trying to do. You understand Shopify, whatever that is. So verticals has two really important, I'm not going to say repercussions, but functions. Marketing. And so you need to make sure that you pick the right vertical, or that you pick a vertical. Now, as a matter of honesty or transparency with you guys, at 8Loop Social, so my agency, we specialize in 3 verticals. So we work with e-commerce, and that's Shopify e-commerce, so consumable goods. We specialize in coaching funnels, so coaches that are selling high ticket or low ticket products. We're really good at those kinds of funnels. And we also specialize with big brands. So we do have a bit of a creative flair. We love putting pitches in for creative Facebook campaigns. And we're really good at awareness, CPM style campaigns. So those are the 3 verticals that we work in. However, what I did was I actually, when I realized this, the importance of this, I actually only did coaching funnels first. So at the time I was working with all sorts of different clients, and I'd lost a really big client. I had a monopoly on this client as well, so it nearly took me under at the time. And when I cracked this system, I decided I was going to make it, well, I cracked this system because I decided to focus on a niche actually. And I went after coaching funnels, because at that time I'd had some experience with it as well, and I really enjoyed those kinds of funnels. And as soon as I built my team or trained my team, so we grew quite quickly, we onboarded lots of coaching clients, we had some great success, and I trained my team, and my team became very competent with those funnels. Once that was done, then I was able to go, okay, let's open up another vertical. Let's spice things up. Let's go after another vertical. So if you come to 8Loop now and you're a realtor or you're a chiropractor and you ask us for ads, we will refer you to another agency, because we just know it's not worth our time. We don't have, yes, it's lead gen, it's freaking easy stuff, but it's not our core competence. My team is not trained for lead gen. Therefore, it is not worth my time. It's not worth my team's time to go on a learning curve for this when we have more than enough e-commerce and coaching funnels to work with and big brands. So you sort of build them on. You don't have to just pick one forever. You build them on, but you make sure that you become an expert at one before you go on another learning curve. Make sense? I hope this makes sense, guys. So which verticals do you go after? Good question, right? If you're an existing Facebook ads specialist, if you have experience, the first question you should really be asking is, what's the good case studies I have? What great testimonials do I have? And go after that. Even if you're thinking to yourself, let's say it's e-commerce. Let's say you have testimonials and case studies or experience with e-commerce. Even if you're thinking to yourself, I hate e-commerce, I don't want to touch it anymore, I'm done with that. Well, here's the reality. You're thinking like a freelancer if that's what you're thinking. You need to start thinking like an agency owner. Bit of mindset there, right? Mindset shift. As an agency owner, you don't work with those clients. Like, I'm in my business 3 hours a week now. So honestly, I could care less what verticals we go after as long as there's a profit margin and an ROI and my team have retention. We have happy clients. So I don't work with those clients. My team does, my account managers do, my operations guy does, my Facebook ads guys do. And because of that, I don't really have a prejudice or discrimination towards or against a specific vertical. For me, it's just what do we crush at? Like what do we crush at? What can we crush results for? And what has margins? Who's going to pay us what we want to charge, right? So bear that in mind. But if you don't have any experience, some of the things that I would recommend that you do is, if you're just getting started out, I would recommend you go after the easier types of verticals first, which is typically lead gen. And lead gen is really good for a number of reasons. Usually it's plug and play funnels. So for example, real estate. With realtors, you can have one funnel that you use in one location. You can pretty much like lift that funnel up and like insert it into another realtor's ad account, edit the headlines, edit everything, and it will work. So because of that, it's really good. Because of that, you can also price yourself what we call leased funnels. I'm not going to go into that today, but that is an amazing strategy, especially if you are trying to sell your agency or make it attractive to investors. By far, there is no better or more effective strategy than that. If lead gen does not tickle you, so working with realtors can be a pain in the ass. They often do not pay what you need to charge. So those verticals are plug and play, but by the same token, usually realtors, Kairos, you're going to be tapped out at about 2.5K. Retainers, they won't normally pay more than that. If you want the 5, 10K, you typically have to go after insurance, mortgage brokers, lawyers, because those guys have very good margins. The lifetime value of a customer is definitely worth it for them, and so they will pay that to make that kind of money. If you don't want to go after lead gen, e-commerce is typically more difficult, and coaching funnels is usually the hardest. The reason e-commerce is a little bit more difficult is you have a website that comes into play, and a website needs to convert at a certain level. So certainly if I look back in retrospect at the e-commerce clients we've had, the ones we've had issues with, 90% of the time, some of the times it's a product to market fit, but 90% of the time it's a website issue, and the website just needs to keep getting fixed and edited, and that can be time consuming, it can be expensive for the client. The client can sometimes lose their patience with it. So e-commerce can sometimes take quite a few months to crack, and so setting the right expectations is really important, and also working through those website issues is also a big thing. E-commerce is also direct response. So e-commerce, it's like you know if it's selling or not, right? There's no hiding from it, whereas lead gen is a bit softer. Leads are easy to get, right? E-commerce, it's like you're trying to get people to buy, and if your ads suck, there's no hiding from that, right? It's just like people are not going to buy. So it's a bit harder. Coaching funnels are the hardest, however, very lucrative. So e-commerce is also very lucrative, very scalable. Coaching funnels are even more lucrative because they usually don't even have a product, so there's no merchandising or fulfillment issues behind that, so even more scalable, more lucrative. However, they're the hardest ones to work with because most coaches are just getting started out, and even those that are not getting started out, surprisingly, have extremely convoluted and seemingly nonsensical funnels that they took some webinar somewhere on the online web. Did I just say online web? I sound like a 60-year-old. They took a webinar somewhere and decided they needed like some tripwire that went into this funnel that then had a 5-day challenge that then sent them to a webinar that then retargeted. It's like, it makes no freaking sense. So a lot of the times, unless you're super confident with those kinds of funnels, you end up having to sit with them and rejig their strategy. So I would only really take those guys on if you are very confident with coaching funnels. Typically a bit harder to work with. So those are funnels and different kinds of, those are not funnels. Those are verticals and different kinds of verticals, considerations behind that, why it's important. But the main point of all of that was just pick a damn vertical. Just pick something, right? And even talk to you about some easy ones and hard ones as well. All right, so moving on to that's step number 1. Step number 2, we are sending people to a landing page. Now here's something really, really important here, guys. You want to make sure that your landing page is keeping the scent of your ad and consistency. So let me loop this down here. 2 important things here as well. Scent and consistency. So you might think these are the same, but they're actually slightly different. This one's a bit of a loophole with Facebook. And then actually, third thing, policies. So keeping the scent, whatever you said in your Facebook ad, whether it was like, hey, you know, check out how I did XYZ, make sure that is your damn headline on your landing page, keeping the scent. Make it as seamless, as uninterrupted as possible so people know right away, hey, I'm looking at exactly the landing page that I clicked on the ad for. So this is really, really important, guys. Second thing here is consistency. What I mean by that is if you are targeting small business owners and you're targeting, for example, your ad should say small business owners somewhere in it, and your landing page should say small business owners in it. Facebook loves consistency in that way. So where you're maintaining the same thing across every asset, Facebook adores that. You will see your relevance score go up, and that will result in cheaper cost per leads as well. Now, typically, when you have your landing page, you can download this, obviously download it and check it out. One of the things I just recommend is have a privacy policy. Remember, guys, every single off-site ad that you run, meaning any ad that goes to a landing page, if you are a Facebook marketer, they all need privacy policies. It's Facebook's terms, right? So any clients that don't have that, make sure you get that on there. So you're sending them to a landing page. Next thing, we're sending them to a booking page. And a couple things here, booking page. Well, this is really where people are just going to book a time in and get to chat to you. So I'm going to talk about that in the sales portion of this, more so than this. And then finally, we have a confirmation page where we essentially trigger an event to track the impact of our ads and what our leads cost us. So depending on the funnel that you're using, the cost per lead is anywhere from $7 to $50. So let's say, for example, you're paying 10 bucks a lead. And then here you're going to get on a sales call, right? And I'll talk to you guys about this in a moment. So let's say you're paying $10 a lead. So people are going through this funnel, your ideal client, whatever that might be. Maybe it's automotive shops or whatever. They're going through your funnel, they're booking a call, and let's say you're getting them in at 10 bucks a pop, okay? And your close rate is 20%, or let's say it's even 10%. Let's say you have a shitty close rate because you're not a salesperson and it's really crappy. So basically, if we run the math on that, every 10 calls that you take, you're gonna onboard one new client, and one of those new clients is going to be worth between $5,000 to $10,000, right? Because you're going to price yourself properly. This is a big one as well, guys. So you're spending $100, right? 10 times 10 to essentially land a 5 to 10K client. And even if it's one of those not so high margin niches like realtors or chiros, even if you onboard them at 3K, that's a pretty damn good ROI, right? Like you don't even really get that in coaching funnels. You don't even really get that in e-commerce. So it's incredible ROI. So that's a little bit how these funnels work. And that's assuming a 10% close rate, which is not even where it should be. It should be around that 20%. Okay, so this brings me on to pricing though, because pricing is one of the big issues that most freelancers and agency owners do not get right, and or they understand it and they know they want to price themselves properly. However, they either get in front of the call and they buckle, and so they go to pitch like 5K and it's like a frog in their throat and it comes out like 800 bucks a month. Yeah, I know the feeling. Or they pitch 5K, they actually pitch it, and they get scoffed or laughed at on the phone by the lead, right? So pricing is really important, and sales is really important. Now, with pricing, when we're charging 5 to 10K, here's an important distinction that I want you to understand here is I'm not out to get clients or to scam clients or to become like a posh Facebook ads agency. That's not the intention. In fact, I would even go so far to say even at 5, 10K, you are nowhere near being a premium agency. Because for those of you guys that have worked with premium agencies or have been quoted by premium agencies, you know that those guys are charging way more. So for example, same campaign, if that was being run by something like Saatchi & Saatchi, same campaign would cost 100K. So just bear that in mind, guys. So 5 to 10K is not premium. It's premium to you because you're so used to charging less and you're so used to being surrounded by people that are telling you that's a lot of money. So you have a distorted perception because you're hanging around people that have a distorted perception of pricing or of what it actually takes to run successful Facebook ad campaigns. Now, if you think about it for a minute, for those of you guys that have experience, it normally takes about 20 hours a month minimum to run a successful Facebook ad campaign for a client. And obviously this isn't taking into account different verticals, and if you're doing coaching funnels, it's almost double that time. It's just talking like in general, on average, it's about 20 hours a month. So if you're charging $1,000 a month, you're really almost charging the same rates as an Upwork or a freelancer in Malaysia would charge. And so if you're living in a Western country trying to pay Western payroll or Western mortgages or any of that stuff, it just doesn't add up. You can't grow, you can't scale. You won't be able to hire a team at that rate, right? So when we say charge premium prices, we're really just saying that as a fancy way to get your mindset across the notion of, no, you actually need to charge what you're actually worth because you won't be able to grow as an agency and because you're severely undercutting yourself at the moment. So for those of you, maybe you're dealing with some mindset issues. Maybe you're thinking like, yeah, but it's like, I can't imagine charging 10K. Like all I'm doing is a Facebook ad campaign, right? Or it's so easy to me. Maybe those are some of the thoughts. What I would say to you is, how much do you think it would cost to buy a business that makes $100,000 a month? Like if you were gonna go and buy a business, so if you were an investor and you were looking to add a business to your portfolio, or you just wanted like to buy a business that was already doing 100K a month in revenue, how much do you think that would cost? It would cost a few $1,000,000, right? Depending on how old the business is and the profit margins. But it would cost quite a bit of money. So you got to think about it like that. A lot of these leads that come to you, these guys want to make like 50K, 60K, 70K, 100K a month, $500,000 a month. You are literally building their businesses up for them. The opportunity cost for you is that you are not doing that for yourself. You're not doing your own e-commerce store. You're not doing your own coaching funnel. So of course you need to charge that, because if you're going to do it for someone else, it's not worth your time. You might as well just do it for yourself if someone's only going to pay you $1,000, right? So when we say premium pricing, you really got to get your mindset around like, no, it's just actually charging the right kind of pricing. And I have literally worked with hundreds of Facebook marketers and freelancers, and every single one of them applies this. And I can tell you the difference between their agencies or their businesses before and after, even just within sort of a 5-month span. So for example, Rob and Daniel in Alaska, those guys were, I mean, they were not even making money from their agency. They were having to work at sea and be away from their families for about 2-3 weeks at a time. And they went from that to within probably, I'd say about 5-month span, those guys are on track to hitting 100K. And that was pricing. A big part of that was pricing. It was also the lead funnel, which I'm showing you here, obviously generating those leads, but they were totally undercutting themselves before because they thought it's just a Facebook ad, we're working in a small town, no one wants to pay these prices around here. Well, no, actually, the world is your oyster. You can go in any market you want because you can work anywhere you want. And if you can find the right leads and attract them, then you can definitely sell them on that pricing that you need to, because you're not selling a Facebook ad, you're selling an outcome. and the outcome is a $50K a month business, or it's a $100K a month business. And that is worth a lot of money. And that has opportunity costs to you, right? So that's really, really, really important. All right, so I'm starting to lose my voice a little bit, but this is a bit of an overview around this funnel that you have downloaded. I encourage you to go out there, find those leads. Hopefully this was really, really helpful. As part of this funnel, you guys also had access to a free clarity call with my team. And on this call, my team and I are going to help you understand a little bit more around those verticals, a little bit more around the pricing, because there's obviously different pricing for different verticals. Coaches, you would charge fundamentally different than e-commerce. And also clarity call around the funnel itself. As I mentioned, there's quite a few different funnels out there that I've developed. This one may not be the right fit for you, and certainly try it out. But if you're not, you know, if you don't have the right elements for your business context right now, it won't really matter. So you get a free clarity call with my team, which I highly encourage you guys to take me up on. It will give you some insights into your business. It will give you some insights on the next steps. If we get on this call and my team feels like you are a good fit and feels like you have all the ingredients to really skyrocket your agency, to really skyrocket your business to the next level, if we feel like energetically we can work together, like we can really help you, then my team will also invite you to work personally with myself and my entire team, so my mindset coaches, my sales coaches, to help you with all of this. And if you say no, that's absolutely fine. You still got lots of insights and great information. We are very particular who we work with, so they will not invite just anybody, just so you're aware of that. Do not get offended if you don't get invited by them. Again, it's mostly a clarity call, so it's mostly for you to get support and information. So use that, don't get hung up on that invitation or any of that. And lastly, the last thing I kind of want to recap this with, guys, is I spent a long time in my journey, in my personal journey, figuring all of this out on my own. So as I mentioned, I spent a significant amount of money on funnels, significant amount of money on hiring team, had to make them redundant later on a lot of my time. If I had tapped into a mentor that had opened up to me the way that I'm hoping I can open up to you guys, in the early stages of my business, I would be probably $4 million richer for it by now, personally in my bank account. So I'm not ungrateful for my business. I'm not ungrateful for the learning curves. I'm not ungrateful for the experiences I've been through, but I also don't think they were all necessary. And I think that had the mentors that I turned to at that time opened up a bit more freely with me, it would have saved myself a lot of time and heartache. And that's what I want to offer to you guys. I want to offer you guys the opportunity to bypass this learning curve from someone who's actually been there. I'm not just a coach that decided to coach Facebook marketers or agency owners. I walk the walk, I talk the talk. I have been through this journey that you are presently on, and I want to help you bypass this learning curve. I want to help you implement this system. I want to help you grow to 6 figures, 7 figures, whatever that might be in your agency. So hopefully you got a lot of value out of today's training. Make sure you book that call. You just go to 8loopsocial.com/apply. I think there's a button somewhere below. And whatever the outcome, guys, I wish you all the best in your business. Thanks again for giving me your time. I really appreciate it. And I hope to connect personally with you guys very, very soon.